So FedEx opens like way later today, but bonus, DHL's open right now. So we're gonna go ship that stuff off and take care of our birth certificates and stuff. Morning. We're heading on the 19 out to Museumplein. Basically, we're going right next to the consulate, but not. We're going a little farther. But that's the great thing, is it's like right there next to all the consulates, and it's a DHL, and I was just like, you know, that's actually really, I wonder if it's there because of that reason, or just what? So, yeah. You have all the paper, yeah, you do. Right. Good. Because I'm the one that took the other paperwork back, and I needed to get that out of my backpack before I go to practice tonight. And so, yeah, fun. We're looking at, like, the butcher reminded me, he's like, haha, it's really hard for foreigners to do, haha. And I'm like, I know, I'm trying to say ground beef. It's just, it's like, you've got the 3 problem letters in there. You've got the G, which isn't a G. You've got an H, which is kind of an H, but not. And then a K, which is maybe a K, but a lot harsher of a K. So yeah, we'll see you guys after we do DHL stuff out at Museumplein. It's actually a really pleasant morning along the canal. That bike's somewhat leaning over further. Morning on Spiegelgracht, whatever. The name of the canal isn't necessarily, the name of the stop isn't necessarily the name of the canal right next to it, but holy, it looks very pretty in the morning. I don't know why. It looks better than I've ever seen it. So, one of the more vloggy things I was watching from CGP Grey, I think, maybe it was someone else, where they were like, well, you know, it's like when you're doing Dutch, you know, you've got concert, and they use that word, and then habau. Unless it gets really famous, then you just call the whole building concert habau. And it's sort of like your building is big enough that it's just now Amstel building. Yeah. It's surprisingly tepid for 9:30 in the morning. Hey guys, it's the I Amsterdam sign. It's the I Amsterdam bench. We're tourists. We don't know where we're going. I know exactly where I'm gonna go. I'm going to a DHL office past a prison. Did he just say that? Yes, I did.
Is it actually a prison?
It's the consulate.
Okay.
But being as it's kind of, well, I've practiced today anyways, I'm still trying to figure out the time, and Aaron says that the tourists are never gonna go away. I'm just like, there's gonna be a time when when they're not outside all the time, and I can run over to that hill. Walk over to that hill, then run up the hill. Don't wanna run over to the hill and then walk up it. That just completely goes against well, whatever was going on here, they're resodding it. Yeah. They're just regrassing. Museumplein. Oh, that is definitively, that is stanky. Whew. It was like that guy's just going, like, I'm trying to figure out, the seagulls are just, oh, because he's recently tilled up the dirt, so they're looking for bugs, looking for worms. That's why all the seagulls are like following him. Maybe either that or they're stupid and think he's feeding them.
I mean, half of that's true no matter what.
Well, it's true. But it's the idea that they're like following him, which makes me think, but there's a couple of them out in the middle of it doing their little thing. They're just doing that little patter thing that makes them, you're like, what? Well, these plants are not having it right now. They're definitely looking like an American voter right now. Somewhat full of life, but really just not having it anymore.
Yeah.
I went there. And there's the consulate. And from this far away, it doesn't look that bad. But when you're right next to this 3-meter tall iron fence, it's totally against everything else around here, which is just very open.
Yeah.
Well, that didn't work out so well. Like, I was in the process of getting coffee, thinking we were going to be there for a while, and we weren't actually there for a long time. Why? Because they can't do it at that location.
They don't even know if they can do it in any location.
Yeah. And I'm like, what is wrong? So, since UPS and FedEx are in two different directions, but 45 minutes away.
We're not doing that today.
We're not doing that today. We probably won't be doing that at all, because if DHL's like, yeah, I don't know how to, yeah, I don't want to. Plus, they're like not even any. It's like not even like we're in a weird area and we need to get out of here to get over to. They're like the UPS thing is out in a business area way out near Sloterdijk, and UPS is like down by the airport.
Say that again.
FedEx is down by the airport. UPS is out at Sloterdijk, and like I said, it makes sense for them to be there, but they don't exist anywhere else in the city. And the one place that is literally everywhere won't do it. DHL.
DHL isn't even literally everywhere.
Right, because to me, being at least they're closer into the downtown area.
Yeah.
And
But
not
the place everyone suggests, Primera, doesn't do overnight and doesn't do guaranteed delivery. And
Yeah.
definitely doesn't do return shipping.
Yeah. So hopefully y'all folks have like maybe encountered this before. Maybe not, probably not. The chances are very slim actually, as most of you guys in Europe are not expats trying to figure out how to get very vital documents taken care of.
Yeah.
But in case you've ever known what to do, some suggestions will help, because by the time this video goes live, Friday morning for the Pacific Northwest, we might have this solved. But now Aaron's got to head to work, because if it was a 10-minute tram ride or something, or even 15, we'd have probably gone to it. But 45 minutes there, 45 minutes back, it's going to cut way too much in his work time. And based on yesterday, he's got a lot of stuff to do. So, and since everything is with, because I've had to pay a lot of stuff for football, I mean, I can't get on my phone and transfer money, so I have to go all the way home to go transfer money so I could pay for this stuff of my own volition.
Yeah. It's just a mess.
This is far more of a mess than I was ever expecting this to be. And I'm just like, how is this such a mess? I can't, like, if this is such a mess here, it literally floors me that people do actually want to go to the United States when it's 5 billion times more of a mess over there.
It's easier to get into the US, I think, because countries over here actually understand internationalization and marking documents as verified in more than a local sense. Everything about the US is designed for
Keeping
working
us,
within the US. Because who would want to leave?
and that in and of itself, it doesn't work very well, even within the United States. Like, trying to transfer you would think like a license from one state to the other would relatively transfer.
They relatively do.
But you still have to go through pretty much the entire process of getting a whole new license when crossing a river. I mean,
So from Oregon to Washington or Washington to Oregon?
both. I've done both.
Because one way you have to take a written test but not a driving test, and the other direction you don't. You just have to fill out forms.
Well, then Washington to Oregon both times was way harder, because I had to take the written test and chance a driving test.
What do you mean chance a driving test?
Even when I moved over to Troutdale, it was still like, oh, well, it's been a long time since you actually got your Washington license, but I guess we can just waive it this time. And that's what the DMV lady says to me, and I had to take the written test. And that's why I said I would have had to, because it had been 5-6 years.
Okay. My parents, moving from Oregon to Washington, did not have to retake the driving test. I, moving from Oregon to Washington, did not have to take the driving test.
Well, you were 16 at the time?
I couldn't drive yet. Moving from Washington to Oregon, I didn't have to retake the driving test.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It was harder for me to move from Washington to Oregon than it was from Oregon to Washington. When I moved back after Chris, she's like, well,
It's been a while, yeah.
it hasn't been long enough for your Washington so we're just gonna stamp renew it. That's literally all she did.
Yeah.
But in Oregon, they couldn't renew it, even though my old Oregon hadn't expired yet.
So
Yeah.
compare that with coming over here. From date of entry into the country, our licenses are only valid for a year. Then we have to take the written and the driving and fill out all the forms.
For those of you that can hear it, those are the bells at the top of Rijksmuseum. Sometimes stuff crops up in the middle of filming. But yeah,
this whole experience has been incredibly frustrating. So my advice to anyone moving out of the US, before you do, get every document you can think of together. Go down to your state, your Secretary of State's office, and get them all.
For your state. The Secretary of State for your state, yes. Not the Secretary of State for the United States. Unless you happen to be in DC.
And get them all marked with an apostille so that they're legalized for Europe. And if for some reason they aren't in English, get them in English.
Yeah.
Or German, or French, not Spanish.
They have a weird thing here about Spain.
Yeah, they have a lot of weird things about Spain.
We're going to go into that probably at a later time, probably much more around Sinterklaas.
Yeah.
Because that seems to be that whole deal. Anyways, this has been a long vlog as is. I'm just, because I have practice tonight, I'm probably going to make a second video for practice if I record much. Was not expecting this much before practice. Oh crap.